Hi there, I'm Juliana Carroll, and this is my sister and partner in Coffee and Tech, Lisa Jackson. Together, we are your hosts here at the Coffee Tech Talk Show, exploring anything and everything to do with work orchestration and automation. We're here to be the catalyst for industry change by reaching beyond soulless solutions, listening, and learning from all our collective experiences. Most importantly, we're building a community of people who can share, learn, and grow
Good
together.
afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to our Coffee Tech Talk show.
We are going to continue the foundational series, starting with the basics. Last session, we covered foundational series number 1, effort equals result. And today, we're going to cover foundational series number 2, sequence matters. Jay,
You automate
go ahead.
things, though, you have to be careful. So automation is a technique, method, or system of operating an internal process by highly automatic means, by electronic devices, reducing human intervention to a minimum. So automation magnifies the outcome, right? So This is a Bill Gates quote that, again, I read it so many times that is pretty much ingrained in my brain. The first rule of any technology used in a business is that automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. The second is that automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. Because automation does the same thing the same way over and over again faster than usually a human can, right? Then the outcome is magnified. So if the process that it repeats or automates is good, the outcome is exponentially greater. If the process is bad, then the outcome is exponentially bad.
Right.
So instead of having one, good grande chai latte in an hour, you'll have 10 good grande chai latte, or the opposite. Instead of having one bad one, you'll have 10 bad ones, right?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that before you automate anything, that you test it manually and you do it more than once, and you do it with a variable amount of testing and people and conditions to make sure that you cover everything, right?
Okay.
Now that we determine automation magnifies, right, efficiencies and inefficiencies, what are the common mistakes, right, of workflow orchestration? The first common mistake is that the sequence of work tasks are not optimal, right? So, let's take a look at this. I just reversed the order of the step number 3 and 4 really quickly. So we start. The customer gives the orders. Grande chai latte, please. And then step 2, the cashier says, okay, takes the order, $4.50, please, right? So then let's say that the next step, either the system or the cashier sends the order to the barista, and then the barista makes the chai latte. And then the next step is verify payment is approved, right? So in this order, instead of verifying payment approved and then the barista gets the order, in this case, the barista gets the order first and then verify payment is approved. What happens when the credit card or the payment is not approved?
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
So the barista has already made that chai latte. So then the barista is going to be like, what am I going to do with this chai latte? Right? That there is no payment for. So the company is losing money and inventory and waste because do they give the chai latte to the customer for free, right? Because she can't pay, or do they throw it away? One they don't make money. Well, in neither case they make money, but one is really a waste of resources, right?
Yeah.
So you have, again, this is one of the things, like the sequence matters, right? Make sure that you're doing the right sequence. So mistake number 2, the data captured is not captured, or it doesn't flow correctly optimally. And as I was saying earlier, right? So let's say that at start and input, the data captured is product name and prices, and but it didn't capture the size, right? And then the data goes all the way to the barista. What happens when the barista gets the order with no size, right? So if she's in a hurry or there's no other recourse, she'll just choose, if I was the barista, I would choose the largest size, right? Because the customer is not going to complain if she orders a small and gets a large. But the customer will absolutely complain if, she gets a small and she paid for a large, right? So not having the data correctly captured up front and flowing into the activities is very inefficient and, will cost the company time, money, and customer happiness.
Right.
So another thing to remember is you got to test the data, right? Up front before during orchestration.
Capture the data. Hashtag sequence matters.
Sequence matters and flow matters. So common mistake number 3. Have you ever been requested to do something and that person that requests something just says, here you go, do this for me, and they leave, right? You're not given, the chance to ask any questions about it, or, they say, hey, make me a red dress, right? And then you open the package of fabric and the fabric is black.
Yeah, I've actually done that to people.
Yes. So
I'm that person that will probably a lot of times just ask someone to do something and then expect people to understand what I say.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to that person.
Right.
I've done that.
So what we did earlier was to basically give a very simplified visualization of logical flow of activities to get you your chai latte, right? Step 1, give order. Step 2, take order. But so let's think about this. You give the order to the cashier and you say, hey, I want a grande chai latte, right? And then and then you leave, and what happens if the cashier didn't hear you correctly, right? So then she won't know where to go, and then if there's no mechanism for her to say, wait, what was your order? I refuse to take this order, or I can't take this order, or can you restate your order? Or instead of saying, I want a grande chai latte, you say, I want black tea, but black tea is not on the menu.
Right. Okay.
Right. So she can't make black tea, for instance. Right. As an example. So, so for every task and activities, before you move from one task to another, you had to provide the process, the orchestration, a way for it to reject the input.
Okay.
Otherwise it's stuck, right? And so every activity has an input and has an output, but if this input is wrong and there's no way for it to reject and then to redo, then all your stuff will be wrong downstream. It has to be a way for me to turn a shake of hands to say, yes, indeed, I receive your input, and yes, I accept your input, and it's sufficient for me to do the activity in order to give the output that expected.
Okay. All right.
So, before somebody walks away from you when they tell you to do something, you have to be able to say, I accept your request. I accept your input. Hey, don't walk away until I open this fabric package.
Meaning I understand exactly what you want me to do.
I understand, and you gave me enough information, enough materials, and the right color of materials for me to do that next activity.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So it sounds very, very simple, but you'd be amazed how many multi-million projects failed because someone forgets a loopback project. And then so one time an event happens and there's not enough information to continue that work, and the whole system grinds to a halt because
Right.
it is a machine. It gets stuck in a loop because it doesn't know what to do next, because it doesn't have enough information to continue.
I mean, that's actually very important
Yeah.
in our line of work, because if a client expects your double deck to look a certain way, the material and the thickness of the material makes a huge difference to them, and it doesn't connect properly. Those are things that can either make us lose money. We don't do it right because we're going to have to do it on the show floor, and it could upset a client. So all those things we have to be able to pinpoint prior to leaving our shop, and it has to be exactly as we drew it, how we designed it, and how we basically build it. So makes a lot of sense.
And if it's automated, you have to make sure the system has a way, a mechanism, for the next receiver of that task to say, no, I cannot continue with this. It has to go back to, the task before it, or to beginning even, wherever it is. So part of my job is, but you don't want to loop back or a rejection process that takes too long. Otherwise the process, is not optimized, right? So part of my job is to actually, take a look and, see what processes can be sequential, what processes can run in parallel, and how far back to reject, right? So that work and time and so on is not wasted during this end-to-end workflow process or workflow orchestration.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So this is kind of an eyesore, but it's just a repeating common mistake number 1: sequence of work tasks are not optimal. Common mistake number 2: data is not captured or flowed correctly or optimally. Common mistake number 3: no loop back or rejection mechanism between tasks and activities.
Well, I would definitely love it if you would break down my industry and our work process.
Yeah, we can go into that.
I don't know about you, but I'm excited about the next episode. We're going to cover foundational series number 3, people, process, tools, and we're going to split that into 2 because it's a lot of subject, and we're also going to be breaking down my industry a little more. Make sure you watch.
Thank you so much. I, hope you guys took a lot of notes. But if you would like the presentation, you can always email us at connect@coffeetechtalk.show. I'm sure Jay would be willing to email that to you for a cup of coffee. And don't forget to follow us on all of our social media handles at Coffee Tech Talk on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And other than that, until next time, Jay.
Yep. Until next time.
Until next time.